Level 1. The first dollar. It's 11 p.m. on a Wednesday, and you're listing a jacket on Facebook Marketplace. You saw a video about flipping things for profit. The jacket has been in your closet for 2 years, and you never wear it. You price it at $40. You take 3 photos with your phone, and you write a description that feels like too much and too little at the same time. And you post it, and you put the phone down, and you go to bed. The notification comes the next morning. Someone wants it. They offer $35. You accept because $35 is $35, and 12 hours ago it was a jacket doing nothing. You meet them in a parking lot after work. They hand you the cash, a 20, a 10, and a 5. You sit in your car for a moment and you feel something small and specific. Not excitement, smaller than that. More like a click, a tiny mechanical shift somewhere behind your ribs. You just made money without asking anyone for permission. No interview, no manager, no schedule. No one told you when to start or stop. You listed something, someone wanted it, and now you have cash that didn't exist in your life yesterday. Most people never make their first dollar on their own. Not because they can't, because they never list the jacket. They think about it, they read about it, they watch videos about it at midnight. They plan and research and save it for later, and later never comes. The gap between thinking about it and doing it is where almost everyone stops. You didn't stop. You listed the jacket, and now the click is there, and it won't go away. You go home and look at your apartment differently. The shoes you don't wear, the speaker you replaced, the textbook from a class you barely remember. Everything is inventory now. Everything has a price. The first rule of level 1, the amount doesn't matter. What matters is the proof that you can create money without being employed. Once you feel that, you can't unfeel it. Level 2, $300 a month. You ran out of your own stuff to sell in about 3 weeks, so you start buying things to resell. Thrift stores on Saturday mornings, clearance racks, garage sales where you show up early and scan things with your phone to check what they sell for online. You spend $30 and flip it for $80. You spend $50 and flip it for $140. The margins are real, but the time is brutal. You're photographing, listing, messaging buyers, arranging pickups, driving to meet people. When you calculate the hourly rate, it's somewhere around $11. That's less than your day job. But it feels different because the money is yours in a way your paycheck is not. You try other things. You sign up for Fiverr. You offer something you're decent at. Graphic design or video editing or writing product descriptions. Your first gig pays $25 for 3 hours of work. Your second pays $45. You do 7 gigs in the first month, and the money comes in small and irregular, and you check your PayPal balance more often than your bank account. $300 a month. It comes in unevenly. Some weeks are $120, some weeks are $30. You can't predict it, and you can't rely on it, but it's there, and it's yours, and it's growing. You start to notice a feeling on Sunday nights that you didn't have before, a small resistance to Monday morning. Not because you hate your job more than you used to, because you've tasted something else. You've felt what it's like to work on your own thing, and going back to someone else's thing feels heavier now. Your girlfriend asks what you're doing every night on your laptop. You say, working on something. She nods. She doesn't push it, but you can feel her waiting for a longer answer, and you don't have one yet. The second rule of level 2. A side hustle doesn't start as a business. It starts as a feeling. The feeling that your time is worth more than what someone is currently paying for it. Level 3, $1,000 a month. You picked one thing. That's what changed. You stopped doing 5 different hustles badly and started doing one thing well. It took 6 months of scattered effort before you figured out what that one thing was, and you figured it out the boring way. By looking at which of your services people actually came back for. For you, it was video editing, or building Shopify stores, or writing emails for small businesses. The specific thing doesn't matter as much as the fact that you chose it, got better at it, and started charging more. Your first repeat client pays you $400 a month. The word repeat does something to your brain. It means someone came back. It means your work was good enough that they didn't look for someone else. You get a second regular client for $350. You pick up one-off projects on the side, $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year on top of your day job. The math starts getting interesting. Not life-changing. Interesting. You open a separate savings account for the side income. The account has $3,200 in it after 4 months, and you look at it every morning the way someone checks on a plant they're growing. Something else changes at this level. You stop consuming content about making money, and you start making money. The shift is subtle but total. 6 months ago, you were watching videos about side hustles at midnight. Now you're doing the thing the videos talk about, and you notice that most of the videos are made by people who make their money from making videos about making money. The loop is obvious once you see it. You stop watching. You have a system now, not a complicated one. A client folder, an invoice template, a calendar with deadlines. It's not a business. It's a routine that generates cash. But the routine has started to feel more real than your job, which is a strange thing to notice and a stranger thing to sit with. Your girlfriend asks again, not what you're doing. She can see what you're doing. She asks when you're going to stop doing it for the night. It's 1 a.m. You say, soon. You don't stop for another hour. The distance between you is measured in screen time now, in the hours you spend in the second bedroom with the door half closed. And she stopped asking what you're building because the answer keeps changing, and none of the answers include her. The third rule of level 3. The moment your side income becomes predictable, even a little, is the moment your day job starts feeling optional. It isn't optional yet, but it feels that way, and feelings change decisions. Level 4, $5,000 a month. The thought shows up around month 10. What if you quit? It's quiet at first. You push it away because it's irresponsible, and your mother would worry, and you have health insurance through your job, and quitting to do freelance work is the kind of thing people do in movies, not in your family. But the thought comes back. It comes back on Monday mornings when your manager asks you to redo something you already did correctly. It comes back when you calculate that last week you spent 40 hours at your job earning $730, and 14 hours on your side hustle, earning $620. You build toward a number. You're not sure exactly what the number is, but you think it's 3 months of expenses and savings, plus $5,000 a month in steady income. You hit the savings target in February. You hit the income target in April. You quit in May. Not dramatically. You give 2 weeks' notice on a Tuesday, and your manager says, "I figured this was coming," which surprises you because you thought you were hiding it. You weren't. The 6 a.m. starts, and the phone calls during lunch, and the way you stopped caring about the quarterly review. It was obvious to everyone except you. The first Monday without a job is terrifying and beautiful. You wake up at 7:30 and open your laptop, and there's no Slack, no stand-up meeting, no inbox full of other people's priorities. There's just your client list and your to-do list and the quiet hum of being entirely responsible for your own income. $5,000 a month, 5 retainer clients, and a steady flow of project work. It's enough to live on if you're careful. You are careful. You eat at home. You don't upgrade anything. You keep your expenses exactly where they were because the safety net is gone now and you feel its absence every morning. Not panic, just a low hum in your stomach from the moment you wake up. What if a client leaves? What if 2 leave at the same time? What if you get sick? There's no PTO anymore. Every hour you don't work is an hour you don't earn. A client leaves in month 2, your first retainer, the one that started everything. They send a polite email about budget cuts, and you read it 3 times, and your hands get cold. You replace them within 10 days with someone who pays more. Something releases in your chest when the new contract is signed. Not relief, evidence. Evidence that losing a client is not the end, that the skill you built has demand beyond any single person willing to pay for it. Your girlfriend left somewhere around here. Not suddenly, gradually, and then all at once. She said you were somewhere else, even when you were in the room. You didn't argue because she was right. The side hustle didn't cost you the relationship. The person you became while building it did. Someone who was always half present, always thinking about the next client, always checking the phone. You think about this sometimes, in the gap between one task ending and the next one starting. Then the next one starts and you stop thinking about it. Your mother calls and asks how the computer thing is going. You tell her it's going well. She asks if you have benefits. You say, not yet. She goes quiet for a moment. You can hear her deciding not to say what she wants to say. The fourth rule of level 4. The moment you depend entirely on yourself for income is the moment you find out what you're actually made of. Most people never find out because the paycheck arrives whether they show up fully or not.
Level 5, $10,000 a month. The jump from 5 to 10 doesn't come from working twice as hard. It comes from two things that both feel terrible the first time you do them: raising your prices and saying no. Raising your rate from $800 to $1,400 on a new proposal makes your finger hesitate over the send button. You send it, they accept within an hour, and you realize you've been undercharging for months, maybe longer, maybe always. Saying no to a client who wants to pay $300 for something that takes you 12 hours feels wasteful when you're still thinking like someone who needs every dollar. But that's $25 an hour, and your time is worth more than that now, and the math only works if you protect the math. $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year. You are 26 years old, and you earn more than anyone you grew up with. And you did it without a promotion, without a title, without anyone giving you permission. You did it from a desk in your apartment, wearing the same hoodie 3 days in a row. You hire someone for the first time, a contractor, part-time, to handle the tasks that eat your hours but don't require your specific skill. You pay them $18 an hour, and the first invoice they send you is $580. You stare at it because paying someone else is a different kind of spending. It feels like an expense. It's an investment in your own time, but telling yourself that and feeling it are different things, and feeling it takes about 3 months. The contractor frees up 10 hours a week. You fill those hours with higher paying work. Your income goes up by $1,800 the next month. The math works. It always works when you trade cheap hours for expensive ones. But you had to feel sick about spending the $580 before you could feel good about the extra revenue. Nobody tells you about that part. You haven't taken a vacation in 14 months. You tell yourself you'll take one when things are stable. Things are stable. You still don't take one. You're starting to understand that the instability you feel is not about the business. It's about you. You've tied your identity so tightly to the work that a week without working feels like a week without existing. You know this is a problem. You don't fix it yet. Level 6, $25,000 a month. You have a team now, 3 contractors and 1 full-time person who you hired after she sent you a cold email so good that you called her within 20 minutes. She handles client communication, onboarding, and project management. You haven't spoken directly to a client in 6 weeks. This felt wrong at first. Now it feels necessary. $25,000 a month, $300,000 a year. You have an LLC, a business bank account, a bookkeeper, and a quarterly call with an accountant who tells you things about tax strategy that feel like secrets. Information that was always available, but nobody in your life ever had a reason to learn. You pay yourself $8,000 a month. The rest goes to payroll, software, contractors, and a reserve fund that sits at $40,000. The reserve exists for one purpose: making sure you never feel the way you felt when that first client left. You pay for the absence of that feeling with $40,000 sitting in an account doing almost nothing. This is no longer a side hustle. You know this. Everyone around you knows this. But you still call it that sometimes, out of habit, or maybe superstition, because calling it a business feels permanent, and permanent feels like something that can be lost. Your old friends don't call much anymore. You didn't have a fight. There was no moment. You just stopped being available on Friday nights and they stopped inviting you, and the gap filled itself with silence. You have new people now. Other business owners you met at a conference, in a Slack group, on a call. They speak your language. They understand what it means when you say, "I had a $6,000 day."
and they don't react with shock. They ask what your margins were. Your mother came to visit last month. She walked through your apartment and looked at the second bedroom you turned into an office. And she stood in the doorway for a moment and said, "You really did it, didn't you?" It wasn't a question. You didn't know what to say. You said, "I'm still figuring it out." She smiled in a way that made something tighten behind your eyes. Level 7, $50,000 a month. You wake up at 7:15 on a Tuesday and check your Stripe dashboard, and $3,800 came in while you were sleeping. Not from a client, from a digital product you built 3 months ago. A course, or a template pack, or a software tool. Something you made once and now sells repeatedly without you being in the room. This changes everything. Not the money, the relationship between your time and your income. Up until now, every dollar was connected to an hour. More clients meant more hours. More money meant more work. The ceiling was your schedule, and you were pressing against it. The product breaks the ceiling. $50,000 a month now, and at least $18,000 of it comes from things that don't require your daily involvement. You still work. You work a lot, but the work has changed. Less execution, more strategy. Less doing, more deciding. You spend your mornings thinking about where the business is going, and your afternoons reviewing what your team has done, and your evenings doing nothing, or trying to do nothing, which is harder than it sounds. You are 29 years old. You have 7 people working for you. You have revenue that would have seemed fictional 3 years ago. You also have a tightness in your shoulders that hasn't gone away in 18 months, and a therapist you see every other Wednesday who asked you once what you do for fun, and you couldn't answer immediately. The loneliness is specific. It's not that you don't have people around you. It's that the people around you are mostly connected to the work, employees, clients, partners. The relationships are real, but they're built on the business. And when you try to separate yourself from the business, the relationships thin out. You have one friend from before all of this who still calls. He works at a warehouse. He makes $44,000 a year. You never talk about money. He tells you about his kids. You tell him about a movie you watched. That conversation is the most normal hour of your week. You think sometimes about the jacket, the parking lot, the click behind your ribs. That was the beginning, and you didn't know it. You couldn't have known it. Nobody starts a business on purpose. They start a side hustle, and the side hustle grows teeth and becomes something they can't put down. Level 8, the other side. $600,000 last year. You have an office now, not because you need one, because your team needs one. You go 3 days a week. The other 2 you work from wherever you happen to be, because the business runs whether you're in the building or not. You built that, the fact that it runs without you. That was the hardest thing to build. Harder than the revenue, harder than the product, harder than the team. Learning to let go of the thing you created so it could grow beyond your personal capacity. You failed at that twice. Both times you pulled control back because something went wrong and you thought you could fix it faster yourself. You were right. You could fix it faster. But fixing it faster meant the team never learned, and you never slept, and the business stayed exactly the size of your own 2 hands. The third time, you let go. You let it break a little and let them fix it, and it took longer and it cost you a client. And you sat with the discomfort the way you sat with that first Monday without a job. And on the other side of the discomfort was a business that could operate at a level beyond your individual output. Your income is high enough now that you think about things you never expected to think about. Tax optimization, asset protection, estate planning. You're 31 years old and you have a lawyer talking about what happens to the business if something happens to you. 3 years ago, you were selling a jacket in a parking lot. You visit home. The house looks the same. Your old neighborhood looks the same. You got out. Not everyone does. And the reasons why you got out and others didn't are more complicated than hard work and more simple than luck. And you've stopped trying to figure out the exact ratio. Your mother asks if you're happy. You say yes because it's easier than the real answer, which is that you're something more complicated than happy. You're capable. You're free. You're building something. You're also tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix, and alone in a way that company doesn't solve, and aware constantly that the thing you built could change or shrink or disappear, because nothing online stays the same for long. But you wouldn't go back. That's the thing you know for certain. Not to the job, not to the paycheck, not to the safety of someone else deciding what your time is worth. You've tasted the other thing, and it rewired you permanently. Somewhere right now, it's 11 p.m. on a Wednesday. Someone is taking a photo of something they haven't worn in 2 years. They're going to list it for $40. Someone will offer $35. They'll accept. They'll sit in a parking lot holding a 20 and a 10 and a 5 and feel a small click behind their ribs. They won't know what it means yet. They'll find out.